Hey everyone. Oh, that's not looking good. Why is my vision appearing and disappearing? Oh boy. And why does it look so bad? It says we're not receiving data fast enough. Hey Death Shaker. Hey Ben. Hey Sanjay, girl. Sanjay Giri. Oh, apologise. Screen's a bit far away. Checked on the advanced notice, got the actual stream. Hey everyone. Well, I've had a few dramas today. Bit of an adventure. I have a new Mac on my desk. 4 AM and Chris is there. I didn't think anyone was going to be around. Yeah, my workbench PC motherboard died today. So yeah, that was a bit of a bummer and I needed to find a solution for Wednesday. The sound is lower because I'm using my webcam and my webcam just turned off. Wow. So there's definitely something going on here. This stream is all about testing this hardware. So I've got a new MacMini to do my streaming and workbench stuff on, but it does not look reliable so far. So I'm using my webcam microphone right now. Hey Christian. Because I've got my Microscope set up. Whoa. Hey Daniel, it's just a test. It's okay. Wow, look at that. Can you guys see that? Or is that just a funny display on my machine? Holy moly. So I went out and got myself a new Mac Mini to see, because I use a Mac, although it's been a Hackintosh. I've been using a Hackintosh, which I really don't like. As in, don't like using a Hackintosh, because you constantly have to maintain it and hack it to get it working, hence the Hackintosh stuff. And so I wanted to replace it with, instead of another Hackintosh, a Mac. But this is not working. This does not look good at all. I was hoping that the Mac Mini would be powerful enough to do streaming on, but that does not look good if I move the microscope around. 5 AM and you're going to sleep in bed. Wow, Christian, that is crazy. Need more sleep than that. So, yeah, look at that. Anything I'll move anything around. That is really bad. Yeah. So it looks like this is a no-go. So after an hour and a half or 2 hours, there you go, now the picture's disappeared. After 2 hours of setting this up, I think it's going to go back to the Apple Store because it will not stream, not fast enough to stream. Wow. Well, it's a Mac, so you don't get a chance to change the drivers. Apple supply the graphics drivers. So it's using an integrated Intel GPU, which is not fast. It's not a discrete GPU, and I knew that. But I did not expect it to be like this. So I'm driving 2 monitors off it, which probably doesn't help. But yeah, that is just terrible. I wonder if it's just the microscope. I wonder what will happen if I plug my DSLR into it. Let me just turn the microscope off. Oh, goodbye. Let me grab my camera. Okay. How's the webcam view? Is that working okay? This one here? No, it's not. It's just a test stream, hardware. New Mac test stream, J-Man. Let me just grab my tripod. Whoa. So the webcam's fine. I know the audio's a bit soft. That's because the microphone's all the way up there. Let me just plug my DSLR in. But even if this works, if the microscope doesn't work, that's not going to be good enough. Wow. This is only a little bit annoying. Okay, I've got to swap cables. Just bear with me a second. Then I'll be able to switch microphones. Okay, where is the cable? I can't remember where I put it. Yeah, this is not looking promising at all. Okay, so that should have a picture coming through, and it doesn't. Okay, that's weird. Like the camera focusing. It's there's no focusing of the camera sound. It's not mechanical. Well, that is, but let me just see if I can get the DSLR up. Wow, this is not looking good. Oh. Okay, we have a picture here. So that's good. Let me see if I can switch the audio. Okay, audio's coming from the front microphone now, like it normally does. Why am I going in and out of focus? Can you hear it now? Is there a any other sounds now? Hey Paul. Yeah, the audio, there shouldn't be any audio light change on the webcam. Just play around with the white balance. Maybe it's auto white balance that's moving around. That's possible. How's that? Yeah, it's better sound because the microphone's only this far away from me now. Where, like, it's 5 times closer, which really helps. So I could always get an external mic, but the Mac Mini's only got a headphone jack, so I'd have to get one that's Apple plug compatible. Is that for me, J-Man? If it is, yeah, this... Or are you asking other people, hey, Thalos. I have not played with Laura. Yeah, I'm not really going to be looking at doing electronics on this stream. But if other people want to jump in, if anyone's played with Laura. Wow, now I don't know what to do. I mean, it's great that this one's working. And that's looking fine. Still feels a bit laggy. No, closing my blinds is going to make it... No, I don't mind the lighting behind. There are splitters which you can plug both mic and headphones into a combined jack. Yeah, I have to find something that's compatible. And the actual external microphone I've got's not a great one anyway, so I don't know if I'd be wanting to use that. I could get a USB mic. I have a spare USB port, so I could do that, yes. It's just another purchase, just more money going out the door. I was not planning on buying a new Mac today. So, and I've got 2 weeks to return this if I want to, so I'm not going to just chuck it in the bin just yet. But I'd really like to work out why the Microscope is jittering like that. Because a Mini's the cheapest I can buy, cheapest over a PC, because then I don't want to use Windows, I want to use a Mac. How do I use a Mac on a PC unless I Hackintosh again? And I don't want to Hackintosh because Hackintosh is just unstable. Why a new Mac as opposed to an old Mac? Second-hand Mac? I mean, I could have, but I need something that doesn't have a screen, so I'm stuck to a MacMini. And before this MacMini, the 2018 one, the last refresh was what, 2012? Something like that, which is not fast enough to run streaming or 2 screens. Can't put a sound card in a Mac. So no, sound card's not an option. Problem with the USB mic is that you can't use it when you're just using the camera. What do you mean, sorry? Use parallel software for Windows. So I don't... How does that help me, Paul? I don't want to use Windows. I was using a PC as a Mac, I was Hackintoshing it, and it was a pain, and it kept crapping out, and my machine kept rebooting all the time, and running a Hackintosh is a nightmare. Yeah. And now Apple have introduced their T2 chips, which is offloading a lot of the stuff that you normally do on the CPU to a dedicated chip, which means Hackintosh is becoming less and less compatible. It's not what I want to do. Just Hackintosh is just a nightmare. I know plenty of people Hackintosh, and good luck to them, but my machines to work on, a lot of people at Hackintosh do it because they enjoy the whole process of maintaining and tweaking their computer. I don't want to do that. My computer's my tool, right? I want to use Eagle on it, I want to stream on it, I want to do whatever I want to do on it, and I don't want to be having to fix it all the time. I can get a USB sound, but I don't need a sound card. I just need a microphone. It's a bit of an overkill. You can't plug a USB mic into it. Right, and if I got a USB mic, I'd get an external mic for the computer, not for the DSLR. You know what I mean? I'd just have a microphone on my desk that's sitting, like something that's a directional mic that's better, that isn't as far away as the webcam that's got a shitty microphone in it, that's all. If I was going to do an external mic, it'd be one that would be always plugged into the computer. And so it wouldn't matter what my input, like what my visual input was, I'd just use a mic. So when it comes to a Mac, there's very few choices to... And I also didn't want to spend, I mean, as it is, this Mac Mini was an absolute ball-breaking sum of money compared to, what I could buy an equivalent PC for, but I don't want a PC. I want to be using Mac OS. That's my OS of choice. And I get that that's... Ooh, things outside playing. I get that, it's my choice. I've made it. I'm not complaining. But using anything other than an original Mac just doesn't make any sense to me. And my problem is it's, Christmas next week. Like, I couldn't do a build to order Mac today. I wouldn't get it for 2 weeks. I could have done one today, but I wouldn't get it for 2 weeks, which means I can't stream for 2 weeks, and I can't have a machine on my desk for 2 weeks. Dedicated mic can also save space if you can mount it to the roof above you. No, the roof's way too far away. It'd be even worse than the webcam. Just seems prohibitive. What, having a Mac? No, having a cheap Mac is prohibitive, maybe. But, I just didn't want to go out and spend $5,000 on a new computer for my workbench when all I do on it is stream and occasionally do Eagle work on it. I've got my MacBook Pro that I use for my main work. So here I'm just looking for my cheapest option that isn't a Hackintosh. I could have bought an Intel Nook that's probably 20% more powerful for this machine for, 30% less money. But firstly, I would have had to build it myself. Secondly, I would have had to install Hackintosh and maintain Hackintosh on it. I would have had no Wi-Fi. I would have had no Bluetooth. You can't get those things anymore because all of that runs on the T2 chip. Hey, Alan. Mount a pipe flange and use the pipe to mount it to... Why? I can just put a mic on my desk. I don't know, Andrew. I don't understand why I need anything that complicated. Like I've got like this, right? I've got a desktop mic that's actually not a bad mic, but it's just, it's not USB. So that doesn't plug into the back of the Mac, or to any Mac really. I could get an adapter for it, sure, and if I can find an adapter, maybe I'll try that. And that can just sit on the desk. And that works fine, and that's great. But I can't just plug it directly into the Mac Mini right now. What about a clippy mic? I've got one of those. I don't want to be... I've got two lapel mics. I've got a wired lapel mic and I've got a wireless one. I don't want to be worried about having to change batteries all the time on the wireless one. And on the wired one, I don't want to be attached to my desk. Like I often get up during my streams and walk around. Yeah, I got a new Mac, Alan. My workbench PC motherboard died this morning. Yeah, I managed to get the drive out, which is great, and copy all my stuff over, so I didn't have to reinstall everything from scratch. So I'm testing out a Mac Mini, but yes, why is the Microscope doing funny stuff? I know I'm stirring. I know you're stirring. Don't be a smart bum. Yeah, Jess, as I said, I've got both. I've got a wireless and a wired lapel mic. I don't want to be wired to my desk. You should be wearing an ESD bracelet anyway. Why? Not only am I not wearing an ESD bracelet, but my shoes that I'm wearing right now generate massive static electricity. Like I zap myself sometimes when I go to my component rack. No, if you're not going to ground yourself, you might as well do it properly and be attached to your desk at all time. No, I don't want to be attached to my desk at all. I always get up and wander around. So, yeah, you can get a mic pack and slip it into your pocket. Right, but then I'm back on batteries again. And then I have to do the whole, do I have batteries in both? And what happens if the batteries die during a stream? And blah, blah, blah. And then the other end of the battery pack still has to plug into my Mac. And that won't, because it's the wrong adapter. Because it's a headphone jack on the Mac. So I still have to solve that bit. Have you ever damaged something with ESD? Never seen it myself. I personally haven't. I know other people that have. I reach over to and touch my laser to discharge the static. Yeah, the problem with this discharging yourself is sometimes I forget. Like if you grab something really tight or do a lot of surface area, it's fine. But it's when you accidentally just touch with the tip of your finger, right? I wonder if that'll go full. Can I go full? Oh, I can. There you go. But it's when you touch with the tip of your finger. Well, why is that all distorted? Interesting. Yeah, weird. Bit distorted. Anyway, and so you get that tiny little bit of contact, which hurts the most. It kills. You can get battery packs that use memory cards. But I'm streaming, Jess. Thank you everyone for trying to solve the microphone situation for me, but it's a really easy problem to solve, like really easy. I can get a USB mic, I can get an adapter for my current mic, I can use when I'm using my DSLR, then it doesn't matter. And when I'm using my microscope, which I might not even be able to use anymore, then you can all just hear me talking quietly like this. Yes, you're just being annoying, I can tell. I have enough nerve damage in both arms and shock can be felt but no longer hurts. Yeah, it's more it's the shock. Like, it hurts a little bit, but it's the shock of that tiny little pinprick of a zap on your finger. So how do we, should we try the microscope again? I'm going to try the microscope again. Sorry, I forgot because I unplugged my camera. Yeah, the camera was the audio. Whoops. Sorry about that. That's why I need an external mic. Okay. Let's try this again. Better now? Yeah, except it's using the the microphone that you thought wasn't as good. Okay. Yeah, that is terrible. Yeah, no. It is not liking using an Amiga. So my microscope is shutting down all my visuals. Like, it even shuts down my webcam. So that is not good. That is not working at all. I wonder if it's a HDMI cable. No, it's not a USB. It's a proper microscope. It's not powered by USB. Well, it was working fine before when I wasn't recording. So when I wasn't streaming, the microscope was working okay. It's definitely not liking it when. Do I have another another HDMI cable somewhere? Probably not. I'd have to go hunt down another. I'll try another HDMI cable a bit later. But yeah, it does not only does the picture start messing around, but the it shuts down my webcam. That is really bizarre. I've not seen that before. Oh well, didn't want to use my Microscope streaming anyway. I've got my new tiny Pico boards. Not that you can really see them. So Wednesday, I think. Confused, not sure. Current MacMini options. Well, the MacMini only just came out in 2018. That was the first refresh they had in 5 years. So it's the one I've got's an i5 6-core, but it's only got an Intel HD 630 or UHD 630. So just the integrated graphics, which is probably the problem here. And boy, the machine actually gets quite hot as well. But it's quiet, it's silent, which is nice. So it's got 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports. It's got 2 USB 3.1 Type A ports. It's got HDMI, and I've got a second HDMI running right now. So I've got 2 screens. Mac Mini So I'll show you what I got. Am I taking a break for Christmas? I don't know, probably not. Very dark screen here. This is the new Mac Mini. I love Apple, who do the whole up to 60 times faster graphics. 60% faster. Faster than what? Anyway. So they're the ports at the back. So it's got Ethernet. I could have got a 10 gig option, but I don't have a 10 gig switch, so that really doesn't help. It's got 4 USB-Cs, 2 USB 3s. So that's the headphone jack there. So I just need a converter or something. How much was the Mac Mini? It was too much. We get killed here. We get the Apple tax in Australia. Pretty bad. Well, it's faster than no graphics. So this is just to go into an Apple store and just buy the default model. To buy a Mac Mini, you can only buy the defaults, like the base stuff. I could have got a build to order, but it doesn't matter what build to order I get, I still can't get faster graphics than the UHD 630. So this cost me $1,699. That price just there. And it's an i5, 6-core. It's only got 8 gig of RAM, but I can upgrade the RAM myself. That's fine. It's only got 256 gigabyte of storage, which freaked me out because I haven't bought a Mac with such little storage for a long time. But it turns out that my Hackintosh drive on the Hackintosh was only a 250 gig drive because it was a really old machine. It was like a 7-year-old machine, and I was only using about 90 gig of it. So that's what I got. Just the base model, or the base i5. So I can plug an eGPU into it, which will probably help. But I gotta, again, spend a whole bunch of money on one of those, which I don't particularly want to do. So I've got 14 days to decide if I'm going to keep this or not. Machine-wise, it's fast enough. It's about 50% faster than the Hackintosh I'm replacing. The Hackintosh I had was an i5, 50-something, 100. So Gen 5, whatever it was. This is a Gen 9. So it was a 4-core. This is a 6-core. It had 16 gig of RAM, but it was really old DDR3 RAM. Where it's only got 8 gig, but it's DDR4. And the NVMe drive in this thing is blindingly fast. It's like a 3 gigabytes per second read on it. So all in all, I mean, machine-wise, it's all I need for my workbench. I don't need anything bigger or faster, but I need to be able to stream. Yeah, I just don't know what I'm going to do. 108 gig my laptop, and it's really not enough. What? Oh, 100. I was thinking 128 gig of memory. Right, yeah, no, 128 is not enough. It's the Apple tax it's the Australia tax. You're not paying for the i5, you're paying for the Mac Mini, right? You're paying for the Mac, you're not paying for the hardware that's inside the Mac. Does that make sense? And look, to be fair, hang on, let me see if I don't even know. I mean, even a Nook doesn't look like this. Oops, where's my camera? Like, this is just a beautiful piece of hardware. Like, as small as the Nooks are, they're just nowhere near as nice as this anyway. Macs are very fancy. But yeah, the Apple tax here in Australia is pretty horrific, unfortunately. Yeah, so the interesting thing about the Mac, because of the Thunderbolt 3, is that I could plug an external drive in there, like an external NVMe SSD, and I could still be I could be using an external drive plugged into this that'll still be twice as fast as any desktop SSD would be. It won't be as fast as like an M.2 NVMe, but it would be, I'd still be able to get 1500 gigabytes per second read and writing on or at least on reading on an external drive. I could make my own. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my tiny FPGA graphics card won't be as fast as the integrated Intel. I wish it was. So MacMini, they tried to put Linux on today. No go. Back in the drawer it goes. Yeah, 2007 is pretty old. I've got a 2011 that's my server in the garage, which, yeah, the graphics in that just nowhere near fast enough to stream on. That just sits there. That it's got all my I've got a gyro plugged in there, and it's got my SVN server on it, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It doesn't get a lot of use anymore, but unfortunately it wasn't fast enough to stream from. And honestly, I don't like spending money on hardware anymore. I used to love it. I used to love running out and getting the latest, greatest PCs and Macs, and I didn't care what they cost and whatever. But those days are long gone. Like for me, it's about having a tool that I'm comfortable with, that I like. And I just dislike Windows. I'm starting a Mac versus, PC thing. I'm not interested in that discussion. But I actually don't like using Windows. I've never really enjoyed Windows that much, and I don't. It's come a long way with Windows 10, but for me, the whole Mac OS experience, it's a much nicer experience. So Linux for my 2015, yeah, Wi-Fi drives are horrible. Yeah, and it's getting harder now. So as Apple are moving to more custom hardware, like at some point they're going to move away from Intel. It's definitely going to happen. And their T1 and now T2 chips are their steps in doing that. Like at some point in the future, they'll be running their own ARM processors inside their Macs. They're going to start off probably with their lower end hardware and eventually to the higher end. And it makes sense for them. And as long as I'm not interrupted, as long as my software keeps working, I really don't care. Sure, I mean, an operating system's an operating system at the end of the day, mostly, right? It's just about how I don't know, there's just a lot of really nice stuff with the Mac, and I spend a lot of time living in the bash cell and terminal for a lot of the stuff that I do. I just find with the Windows, even the latest version of Windows, like every 3 things you do, there's a pop-up window that then confirms something, another pop-up window, and another pop-up window. Like the operating system just gets in your way, I believe. A lot of people think that Mac OS is too simplistic, and therefore not as good as Windows, because Windows is such a powerful operating system. The fact is, the Mac's a really powerful operating system as well, but it's just not in your face. Like if you want to go down and do some really sophisticated stuff, you can, but it's not designed to be it's designed to be a really easy to use operating system. Anyway, as I said, like each to their own. I got no problems with anyone that wants to use a PC and use Windows. Definitely better gaming machines. But yeah, I'll always take a Mac over a PC any day. And unfortunately, I pay for the privilege. Oh boy, got a haircut. Yay. Thought I'd get one before Christmas time. Yeah, I can always run Windows on my Mac if I need to. For anything else that requires it. And there's still a few things, unfortunately, that do. Like when I want to burn bootloaders on my SAMD ICs, I still have to do that with Atmel Studio on a PC. So you can see just there. That's a Windows PC. That's the last, just there, PC in the office. Unfortunately, it's really old. It's 2 years older than my Hackintosh was, so not a viable Hackintosh. And that is solely there now to run Atmel Studio. That's all I do on it. My problem with Mac OS is because it takes full control of drivers once. It doesn't work properly. It's almost impossible to troubleshoot to fix. Sure. But there's also nothing nice. So there's also something nice about not having to go and constantly update your drivers and update your drivers and update your drivers and compatibility issues between your drivers and whatever. Like that's, with Windows, when everything works, it's great, and when it doesn't, you're constantly just having to tweak and unload drivers, install new drivers, and yeah, it's a bit crazy. How's the camera on the Microscope? Can't get my zoom on the camera to match my eyepiece. Yeah, it won't. The whole zoom on the camera is totally different. The field of view on the camera and everything is different. How much was the 256? Well, it wasn't by itself. Like it's soldered onto the motherboard, Chris. Like you don't. You mean how much was the Mac Mini? $16.99 Australian dollars for this particular model. They're too expensive. I know that. Like I'm not going to argue with anyone about how expensive Apple products are. I'm absolutely not going to. But I will also say that, especially their MacBook range, like there is no equivalent PC. Yes, that's all up, and then I get, I don't know if you can read that. I get 155 of that back, GST back. So, yeah, it's a little bit cheaper, $1,549, $1,544, whatever. Sure. I mean, now, regardless of whether their hardware is powerful enough, whether it's throttling or not, whatever else. I mean, no one builds hardware the same way as Apple do. Really must have been a nice car. Hey, Chris. Sorry. Anyway, you guys can just pick on me all you want to, laugh all you want, but I pay for the privilege of using a Mac. I'm not going to deny it. I don't particularly like it. I feel like by paying the money, I'm enabling them. It works out at $18.59 buying in the UK, and that's with my work discount. What? For that same model, for the base model? $18.59 what? US dollars? Australian dollars? Are you talking about? You're not talking about pounds. How's the chat lag, by the way, folks? So the Mac gets really expensive really quick. AUD. Okay, wow. Oh, did the car have? Yeah. No. No one has to F off. Very long lag. But I'm on ultra low. Really? I wonder if there's a problem with the, it says the status is good. Interesting. Sure, Apple charge certification to any customers, to anyone that wants to manufacture and sell stuff that's Mac compatible. Yeah, but you know, Microsoft used to do that, and they still do on a few things, especially for their Surface line of stuff. Maybe you should move closer, Ben. I think that would be a good solution to the lag. You should move to the eastern suburbs. Oh well. What is? Oh, is this going to be in pounds? This is Chris. Chris just sent me this on the chat. Right. Yeah, but you can't just convert pounds to Australian dollars as a comparison, I don't think. Delphi. Wow. I used to love Delphi. What are you using to code in Delphi? Borland. Wow. Hey, bravo. Yeah, look. Anyway. Everyone's entitled to use what they want to use. My choice is a Mac, and I pay for the privilege, and it's a bit frustrating. But, like, I would rather have not have bought a new machine. I knew that the Hackintosh has been a bit flaky for a little while. Like, it just randomly resets, or did reset all the time. Like if you were using it, it was fine. But if you just let it sit idle for longer than about an hour, it just reset itself. Like there was definitely some incompatibilities with the Hackintosh on that hardware. Oh, 10 seconds isn't that bad. I don't think this, no, it hasn't died. So, yeah, like I really wasn't looking to go out and buy some new Mac hardware today. Wow, 2160 AUD in Sweden. Yeah. I mean, it's not just Australia that has the Apple tax. It's everyone. But, yeah. What can I say? So I need to solve the microscope thing, because if I can't get that working, then my stream on Wednesday kind of goes in the bin. So I was going to build a new tiny Pico board. And I can do it with my DSLR, but then, yeah, no, I need my microscope to build this. Too hard otherwise. Really unexpected because something has failed. Yeah, it's been a while since I bought a new Mac. I mean, my MacBook Pro is 2016, which for me is a long time between Macs. I bought the 2019 this year, but I returned it after 4 days because I got it as soon as it came out, and then it had that throttling issue, and then the day after I returned it, Apple fixed the throttling issue, but I didn't go and rebuy it again, and I really kind of need to. My machine's struggling a bit. Webcam's autofocus is indeed really loud. Autofocus. What? How can autofocus be loud? What did I miss? I don't think it's not autofocusing. It could be auto light. Oh, it is. Why is it autofocusing? It should not be autofocusing. That's me doing that. Okay, now it's not focusing, but now it's doing auto lighting. It should not be doing that. That's really weird. It should not be doing that. The Logitech software on the Mac's pretty bad. Because of the motor. Oh, you mean the sound on the... Yeah, but... Interesting. Well, it shouldn't be autofocusing anyway. Yeah, Lewis loves Apple products. Yeah. I don't know. I don't particularly agree with a lot of what Lewis thinks about Apple. You know, I'm not as much of a fanboy as I used to be. Like, I feel like anytime I pay them an exorbitant amount of money for hardware these days, that I feel like I'm endorsing their price points, which kind of sounds a bit whatever. But I don't agree with the right to repair. No, let me rephrase that. I don't have a problem with right to repair at all. Not at all. I don't believe that the government or anyone should be able to tell a company how they should sell and, how do I put it, what people are allowed to do with their products. Does that make sense? I feel like the consumer should decide for Apple if they like Apple's practices or not by either buying their hardware or not buying it. I'm totally okay with someone not buying Apple hardware because they don't like Apple's repair and service practices. I'm totally on board with that, and I'm not even saying that I like Apple's service and repair policy and upgrade policy and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not in any way endorsing Apple, but it's their company, it's their products, and it's their choice. And if people don't like it, don't buy their products. But arguing that Apple should change is just pointless. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been a business owner my whole life. I've been, you know, I had an animation company, I had a games company, 2 games companies. Like, whenever the government or someone steps in and tells me how I have to run my business, what I need to do, what I don't need to do, like that's ridiculous. Like it's my business. Like, telling me how I can and can't employ staff and telling me what my staff's rights are. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that staff don't have rights. But like, so in Australia, I don't know what it's like around the world, but like in Australia, I'm just going to give like an extreme example, right? Like if a staff member walks in and goes up to their desk and picks up their computer and throws it on the floor and smashes it to bits, and then goes up to another staff member's desk and picks up their computer and smashes it on the floor, yeah, you can't fire them. You must give them a warning and put them through counselling and continue paying them even when they're off work, and all you can do is give them a warning, and they must receive 3 warnings before you can fire them. Now that is just ridiculous. If a staff member comes in and picks up something that I own, that I paid for as a business owner, and smashes it on the ground without any regard for my property, and then does it to another piece, right? No one should be able to tell me that I can't fire that person, right? And I feel like it's like that, but bigger with Apple. Like I feel like if Apple are doing the wrong thing, then consumers should respond by not buying their product. Give them 2 warnings early on. Right, there've got to be legitimate reasons for warnings, right? Because the law, I'm not saying like employees shouldn't have employment protection, and there shouldn't be rules in place to prevent companies from doing the wrong thing, but there are no rules in place that really prevent employees from doing the wrong thing. Anyway, so back to Apple. Was I able to prevent anyone from... It's not just consumers. Apple prevent anyone from repairing their products. No, they prevent... They don't... Well, so interestingly, they don't prevent anyone, but if anyone... But like it voids your warranty. If you go to someone that isn't a qualified Apple repair centre to repair something, then you void your warranty. Like Apple don't... And Apple may actively try to not allow you to, like if you're not an official repair centre, to buy original Apple product to repair stuff with. But again, it's their right, it's their hardware. Like they're allowed to decide what's covered under warranty, what's not covered under warranty. Should have saved the rant for Patron. No, why? It's not really a rant. It's just a discussion. Opinionated discussion. Yeah, I feel like Apple still have that right. It's their hardware. It's their choice. Like, if people don't, if people don't like it, they should answer Apple by not buying their products. It's as simple as that. If people want Apple to change, don't support them as a business. But don't tell them how they should run their business. You know what I mean? I think that, how do you feel about them blocking unauthorized sellers from selling repaired Macs on Amazon? Well, they've always had a policy that only authorized people are allowed to sell Apple product. That's not new, right? And they're entitled, really, to that. I mean, it's it's different to someone selling their own Mac secondhand, right? I mean, if there are businesses out there that are selling repaired Macs, they're selling Macs, full stop. And Apple have always had a policy against that. There's nothing new. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not defending Apple at all. I'm just saying, though, it should be their choice. It's their products. It's their brand. You know what I mean? They should be able to have the say on how that works. I believe that, and that goes to any company out there. Like, I feel no differently about anything that Google make or sell, or they don't really make a lot of their own stuff anyway. Like, they get third parties to make it, but whatever. The same with Microsoft. Like, I feel every company has their own right to decide how their products are sold and how their products are repaired. I don't know about the laws in the US. And again, that's exactly my example where, there's the government stepping in and telling a company how to run their business. or what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do in their business. And I think, I don't know, like it's bad enough that all of us as companies spend, pay a lot of tax. I mean, as individuals we pay a lot of tax. As companies we pay more, so we pay a lot and we still get told how to run our businesses, which I think, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of. Products are sold. Right, I don't know how they're being sold though. If they're being sold individually, I don't know. Like I don't know what. I don't buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, so I'm not sure what the deal is with how it's all working. Again, I don't know anything about it, Chris. I'm just saying I feel like there's, yeah, like I keep mentioning Apple, but any company, like I'd feel the same about, Adafruit being told how they can and can't sell their stuff and what level of support and repair they have to give people. Like, I don't feel any government or governing body should be able to go into a company and tell a company how they can and can't sell and maintain their products. I feel ultimately the only people that should decide that are the consumers, and based on whether they buy them or not. Right? If people stop buying Apple products and they made it very clear they weren't buying them because of their service, warranty, repair stuff, then that would be a really good indication to Apple that their policies need to change. But the fact is, they still sell more product than anyone else does. And hello, Greg. A reasonable hour. It's an odd stream I'm doing, testing some new hardware. Yeah, I lost my train of thought then. Whatever. Oh boy. Yeah. I think the Linus Sebastians and the Louis Rosmans are really, they milk the whole anti-Apple sentiment for views and for press. And yeah, personally, that's what I think. I don't necessarily think that they're wrong with some of the stuff they say, but they definitely go the wrong way about, it's all clickbait all the time. I have to say, Linus, his last two videos he's done on, so he did he just did a Mac Mini one and he did the MacBook Air. He was actually quite reasonable for the first time in a long time. I've always had a problem with the way he dealt with, covering Apple stuff. Again, not always disagreeing with what he said, but definitely disagreeing with his delivery and all the clickbaity stuff. Unrelated to the current topic, you're doing some high-level stuff with your microcontrollers on this channel, but not a ton of application with them. What's your favourite use case for your Picos? I don't have any use case for my Picos right now, because I'm still focusing on getting them into production. I still use Wemos D1 Minis and ESP32 boards, and I've yet to put one of my Picos into one of my projects, but I will. I have a couple of projects planned. But I'm generally, I don't generally use like a microcontroller board like that anymore on my projects. I still build custom hardware. So I could have easily put a Pico on my clock, but it just needs an ESP8266. That's all I did on it. Yeah, but your right to repair could also force Apple to make their products last longer and not have inbuilt design flaws. So the last longer thing, I think that's an arbitrary comment. There's no such thing as last longer. I mean, there are people still using 2007, 2011 Mac. I'm still using a 2011 Mac in my garage. Hardware lasts as long as hardware lasts, and I don't think they put deliberate design flaws inside them. They might put design decisions that you don't particularly like soldered on SSDs onto the motherboard so they're not upgradable. That's not a design flaw, unless you're talking about something else specific. Station 240. I know a YouTuber wants me to build a sub counter. You're going to put a tiny Pico in it. See, that's again that's overkill. I mean, sounds cool, but that's overkill for a sub counter. Personally, I mean, you can run NeoPixels with an 8-bit microcontroller, and you can get online with an ESP8266. I mean, yeah. Do you really need battery backup and PS RAM and all sorts of other stuff? When I'm going to make another, I've actually made another Eagle tidbits. I just haven't released it yet. I was actually making one the other day until I was interrupted, Ben. What I missed, what's the deal between Amazon and Apple? I see what you mean. Okay. Yep. So, what some of the specs of the Tiny Pico? I've seen you build quite a few, but I don't know much about it. So it's an ESP32. So it's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's got, well, that one. It's got onboard charging. So there's a JST connector at the back footprint that you can put a JST connector on, or you just got battery pins connected out. It's got an onboard dot star, and it's got PS RAM on the back, an extra 4 meg of RAM. So it's basically an ESP Rover with charging, fully breadboard compatible. USB to program it. So it's ESP32, so it's a dual core 240 megahertz. As I said, it's got 4 meg of PS RAM at the back. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Yeah. So it's basically the size of an ESP room module, but with stacks more. The solder on SSD is a design flaw, as there is no connection to access the drive if the motherboard fails. It's not a design flaw, it's a design choice, and there is a way of getting the data off. Apple have the ability to get data off. Whether they will do that for you or not is beside the point, but Apple absolutely have hardware that they can get data off an SSD on a motherboard, for sure. Once again, it's not like, you know, you can think what you want, but that's not a design flaw, that's a design choice. Right? It's a decision that consumers might not like, although 99% of consumers don't care. Right? Yeah, like it's... If it can pull data from any SSD. Yeah, no, Apple have hard... So one of the reasons that Apple have certified repair centers is they give those certified repair centers access to their diagnostic and repair hardware, right? It's not like, you know, like they have specialized hardware that they build that goes with their new hardware that they sell to do a lot of this type of stuff, and therefore you have to be a certified Apple reseller and trained up for that hardware to be able to get access to their repair hardware. Does that make sense? Whoop. Now, again, that's their choice, and if people don't like that, don't buy their products. But you know, yeah. And I'm saying Apple fanboys don't care. No, it's not the fanboys, dude. See, people don't. No offense, I think people do not understand. Like, Apple know their marketplace better than anyone else does, including the fanboys. The fanboys are a tiny percentage. Forget the fanboys, right? People go and buy. Like, Apple sell more product than anyone else in the world, okay? And it's not to fanboys. Fanboys probably make up way low single-digit percentage of their whole entire sales base, okay? Most consumers have no idea what you're talking about right now, have no idea about right to repair or anything else, right? They buy Apple products for the experience, through recommendation, because they feel comfortable, because they like the ecosystem, because they don't know any better, whatever the reasons are, okay? I'd have to say I reckon at least 95% of all of Apple's customers are not fanboys. They're just people that don't care about the stuff that you're discussing right now, right? Whether they don't know any better or they just don't care. They're buying the product for the product. They're buying the product for the experience and the joy of using it. They're not buying it, you know, like they're not, you know, the whole, I'm not buying an iPad because I can't put external SD card into it like you can on a Google tablet, yeah? Did that stop people from buying it? No. Because most people don't care about that. They don't need it. Right, so then don't do it, Station 240. Then don't spend the money. That's exactly my point, right? If you don't like the way Apple work, don't buy the product. That's your choice. You make that choice. But telling Apple they're wrong just because you don't like it, that's not right. Like, do you understand? Like, and I'm not telling you you're wrong. Like, because I don't want to tell anyone that their opinions are wrong. What I'm saying is you have the right to not buy their product if you don't agree with their practices. But that doesn't make their practices wrong. That just means that you don't like their practices, right? Just like as I'm saying, the way they do their SSDs is absolutely not a design flaw. Is it absolutely different to the way you want it done? Sure, but that doesn't make it a flaw. That just makes it not what you want, right? You know, the whole removing the headphone jack, right? What a pain in the ass that was. Sure. Did it stop people buying their product? Absolutely not. Was there crazy press and jokes about them forever? Yes. Did it make a dent in their sales? No. So that's proof to Apple that it was the right choice, that it didn't matter, right? Only Apple know their sales data. Only Apple know. Apple have got all the information. We have none of it, right? We have none of the information. We've only got our opinions. And let me tell you something. If it wasn't working for Apple, they'd change it. It's as simple as that. They're very good at what they do. They understand their customer base way better than we do, right? And seriously, their customer base is not the fanboys at all. It's really not. And if anything, a lot of their fanboys have left, or they're disgruntled, or they're upset. You know, look at the whole pro hardware fiasco thing. You know, like Apple listen, but that doesn't mean they're going to produce something that is going to make everyone happy. I mean, their iMac Pro is a beautiful machine. It's even not unreasonably priced for what it is. It's incredible. It's way more money than I can afford. You can always hack Apple products and post for all to see. Me? I don't want to hack Apple products. I don't want to mess around with PC hardware. That's what I was saying before. Like, I love using Mac OS. It's absolutely my operating system of choice. And I just want a machine that works. Like, I want to know that it boots every day, it does what I want it to do, and everything else. Looking at Apple's history, they would blame it on the user not using it right, then quietly change the problem. Yeah, I think sometimes Apple do a bad job of, you know, jumping forward with a clear statement. Like, it's going to happen again now with the whole new iPads shipping that are slightly bent, and the Apple have stepped forward saying they're all within spec. That's going to bite them in the ass. Like, I don't necessarily think that was smart. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not... As much as I love Apple products and Mac OS and stuff, I don't think that Apple are golden. Like, they make lots of mistakes. You know what? They're just people. They're just human beings. And people make mistakes. Right? Tony Pico's way more interested in this. I don't know. Maybe. I had a model iPhone up, including 5. It wasn't working for me and I switched to Android. Totally missed the customer care. I hate the Android experience, personally. Like, I hate having to worry about every app I download. Hey, Torsten. I was developing games for both platforms, and every time I had to test something or get it onto an Android phone and test it, I hated it. I don't mind the walled garden experience on an iPhone. Like, I want to know that my stuff's being checked and vetted, and Apple make mistakes there as well. Like, they're just a company that's run by people, and people make mistakes. They get excited, they get enthusiastic, they get careless, they get tired, overworked. It's no different anywhere else. Hey, Rob. I just think that, like a lot of things, Apple just held to a higher standard than anyone else. Like, you don't hear this rubbish about the Surface. I mean, Microsoft Surface Pro has got a worse repair status than the current MacBook Pros do. Right? iFixit gave it a worse repair score. Okay? So the RAM is not changeable and the SSD is not changeable. And I don't hear anyone complaining to Microsoft or about Microsoft. Big part of preference, personal experience, neither is right or wrong. I can't use Apple's phone. Yeah, like, I think for most Android hardware, I think a lot of it's subpar. I mean, the Pixel phones are quite nice, but I've had I had 2 Pixel phones die on me when I was making games. I think that, you know, all hardware is susceptible to, you know, to failing. You know, I'd never consider using an iPad as a computer replacement, like that whole. Well, I wouldn't consider using a tablet at all, but that's the stuff I do, right? I need a mouse, I need a high-res screen, I need multiple screens. Like I'm doing design work. But for some people, yeah, tablet, it can be a replacement bit of hardware. I don't think I'd want to be using iOS for that personally, but I don't want to be using Android either. Like I'd probably use Windows, I'd probably use a Surface if that was the case, if I really wanted to do that. Should get in the business of making phones. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no money in that. Just like get into the business of making watches. I'm not sure there's any money in that either. Yeah, that was always funny, Andrew, the whole Apple and Samsung fighting while Samsung was one of Apple's biggest suppliers. You know, Apple have obviously been changing that over the last few years, but yeah, that was always an interesting thing. But Samsung is actually lots of different divisions. So, you know, Apple could be working with one division quite happily and be suing another division. Like, they're different business entities. But, you know, they're always under fire. You know, class action lawsuit all the time. Like, every week there's a new class action lawsuit against Apple. Like, they're just targeted. You know, just forever. They're forever going to be targeted. It's that tall poppy thing. Like in Australia, we have a thing called the tall poppy syndrome. I'm not sure if it's a global thing or not, but we tend to have this thing in Australia where we love success, but if someone gets too successful, we have to shoot them down. Like no one's allowed to be super successful. If they get too popular, we have to start finding fault in them, and we have to bring them down a rung. You know what I mean? And it's really unfortunate. Apple sues the wrong Samsung as they sued Samsung USA, who is just an importer. No, they don't sue the wrong. Trust me, Apple don't sue the wrong anyone. Like, once again, they know their business very well. They know their legals very well. They know where they stand. You know, companies of that size, you know, like you hear all the time that Apple's, you know, they're being sued for patent infringement and blah, 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 blah. So the difference, I'm not a lawyer, right? But there are different levels of patent infringement, and there's willing infringement and there's unwilling. Like if you infringe on a patent and you didn't realize you did it, then, I mean, obviously you can, you know, you have to pay some money or make a deal or stop using the patent or whatever it's going to be. If it's been a willful, like if you knew going forward and you still did it, then the penalties are considerably bigger, like orders of magnitude bigger for a willingness infringement. And companies the size of Apple, they know what they're doing. They'll make financial calculated guesses that breaching a patent is going to be cheaper for them than not, or whatever. And all companies do that, right? But by the same token, people have to defend their patents, right? There's no point taking a patent out if you don't defend it. If you don't defend it, anyone can use it. You have to keep defending it. So while Apple are quite happy to go into bat and use other stuff and eventually settle, they're also, you know, going to go after people that use their stuff. It's not just an Apple thing, it's an everyone thing. Microsoft do it, Google do it, everyone does it. But, you know, Apple are the ones that people are always looking at. They're always, you know, like every time there's a, you know, underage worker found in factory that supplies Apple's blah, blah, blah. You know, it's always over the news everywhere. Yet, the same factories are building Google hardware, the same factories are building Microsoft hardware, the same factories are building all the Chinese hardware, and you don't hear anything about that, right? It's always just about Apple. It's always something that Apple do, because they're held at a higher level, it seems, than anyone else. I use Mac OS, Windows, Linux, and Android. Got a Mac laptop because work are all Mac. I expect more than it delivered from what all the people that used Mac said. Hardware's all similar now, like in terms of specs inside. I think the quality of the Apple hardware is still far superior to almost every bit of PC hardware out there. No one builds a trackpad like Apple do, by far. I reckon their keyboards, I think their 2019 Butterfly version 2 keyboards are considerably better than what they produced the last couple of years. But I think their hardware quality, I think their screens are better. I think their build is better. Just that, my opinion. Yeah, I've just, maybe the HP Spectre is kind of on par with, a good quality Mac, but they're also the same price, right? And that just proves that you got to pay, like that's the level you got to pay at to get that quality hardware. I don't believe anyone else is bringing a bit of hardware like a notebook out that's as good as a MacBook Pro, other than maybe the Spectre, maybe. Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, and people should be able to use what they want to use. Well, that was a nice hardware Apple rant, wasn't it? Wow. Not what I was planning on doing. Meanwhile, I'm unsure about my Mac Mini because of this microscope thing. I just don't know how I'm going to solve that. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, there might be a... yeah, it turned into a rant. Test stream already 1 hour. Yeah, I need to... yeah. Wow, look at that. Can everyone see that? Not liking that at all. Didn't like me turning on the microscope live. It might be the HDMI cable, I just don't know. I'm going to swap it out. I just need to find another one. Thanks, Chris. You too, mate. Have an awesome Christmas. Have a safe one. Don't do anything too crazy, mate. Hopefully I could speak to you offline as well. Yeah, that's just green. Flashing is a bit annoying. Maybe I can get a HDMI switcher or something that'll... Yeah, that wasn't disco. That was epileptic. Look at a bad 2600 game. Yeah, look at that. That is just... it's all on auto. Can I switch modes? See it, Chris. It's like as soon as there's any movement, it just completely craps out. Let me see if I can find a new cable. Hang on, I must have another cable here somewhere. I mean, I've got 5,000 consoles. I just don't know where I'll have one. That is not HDMI. That is HDMI. What's the other end? Oh, I got a HDMI cable. I can't lower the resolution. It's 1080p only. It's only the one resolution. I'm just turning it off, maybe. If it turns off. Okay, it's off. I'm just going to swap the cable. It might be the cable. This one's a really short cable, so I don't know if that's going to be any good. Because I'm not going to be able to use the microscope with such a small cable, I don't think. Okay, let's try this one. I hope it's just the cable, but that doesn't look like it. Yeah. Hey Mahan, from Hyderabad, India. Cool. Hello. Maybe, I mean, what happens if I go 720p? It thinks it's 720p, but it's not, because the thing can only output 1080. Yeah. But based on what screen I'm on. Tell it to use buffering. Whoa. Yeah, so it's using a cam link, which is a HDMI to USB. So OBS can only do USB webcam capture. Let me just unplug it and I'll show you. So, it's called a cam link. So it's got HDMI in and USB out. So it basically makes any HDMI input look like a webcam. Yeah, I've been streaming over an hour. I know, that's crazy. So this is what I always use, and this has been fine on the previous PC, so it could just be a bandwidth thing, for sure. Which is kind of disappointing. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to... If it's a bandwidth thing, I don't know how I'm going to solve it. What about Thunderbolt to HDMI? Because they are outputs, not inputs. So I can't capture a camera in that way. The Thunderbolt to HDMI are for plugging your computer in. No, the cam link doesn't add power. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, there's there's other capture hardware I can use, but I don't need capture hardware. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to put a $300 box in here to to capture my camera. You've got no idea what's going on. So my workbench computer, the one that is on my bench here that I stream on, the motherboard died this morning, and it's a really old machine, so there's no replacing the motherboard. Like, I wouldn't even, like, I'd have to go find a second-hand version of the same motherboard somewhere, because it's a Hackintosh, so I can't just put any motherboard in there. But if I'm going to upgrade the motherboard, and I have to upgrade the CPU, and I've got to upgrade the RAM, I've got to upgrade the video card, that's a brand new computer. And I'm still stuck in Hackintosh land. I didn't want to do that, so I went out and bought a MacMini this morning, a 2018 MacMini. So I set it up, and I thought I'd do a test stream to make sure it's working okay, but for some reason it is not liking the HDMI out of my microscope. So try through a powered hub. I don't have a powered hub. I do not have a powered hub. Not a USB 3 hub. It's got to be USB 3. I do not have a powered hub. I wouldn't think it's that though, because the DSLR is working fine to the same input. What's if I put this in? Okay, and then I'll plug my mouse for a second. Oh, it's not going to fit, is it? Oh, that sucks. Okay, hang on. And that won't fit either, will it? So the problem is, because it's so wide, I can't fit it in most USB ports, which is really annoying. I don't have another adapter, I don't think. Do I? No, I don't. Actually, wait there 1 second. I'm going to just grab one thing. Hang on. back. So I realized I've got another Thunderbolt to USB adapter. So let me just plug this one in. Wow, I'm using up every single port on this Mac at this rate. So let me see what happens if I do it through a Thunderbolt port. Does the DSLR use the same cam? Yeah, it uses the same cam link. Because I've only got one because they're $200 each. So do you have any other HDMI equipment to test using the USB dongle? No, I've been using that for ages, and it works with my DSLR, so that's fine. Okay, let's try this one. Hello, pick up my cam link. No. Oh, cam link 2, okay. No, why are you not showing? Did you swap the cables when you changed DSLR Microscope? The DSLR uses a different HDMI cable. It uses HDMI to mini HDMI. So it's a different cable. I've now tried 2 different cables on the Microscope. So this is not, for some reason, picking up the Microscope at all. Oh, hang on. It's now not picking up the Microscope at all. Let me just turn it off and back on again. Let me just reboot. It's most likely just the camera, like it's, you know. Oh, it says my stream is bad. Yeah, I'm not getting any picture at all now. So, wow. Not looking good. Yeah, I'm not getting any picture at all now. Which is an improvement to the flickering of the the green flickering. At least there's no flickering, huh? Wow. That sucks. Go ahead and split a switch box. Wonder if that might condition the input. I do have one. I don't think it's going to condition the input at all. I have a Digitech 4x1 switcher, but yeah, who knows? I can try it. I'll try it, see what happens. I mean, I don't like the chances of it working. Output. Right, now I need to get my input working again. Where's my other big cable? Input 1. It's a switcher. Control lets you remember when you had things. Control chaos. What? It's control chaos? Oh. Yeah, we're back to the flickeries. So. Yeah. Turn it off. Turn it on. Yeah. Flickering. Bummer. Okay, well. Camera PSU. I don't know. I mean, just maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it's a PSU. Yeah. Nah. I think it's... I don't know. Do you have a genuine Apple hardware you could test it on to see if you get the same? Yeah, or I could test it on my MacBook Pro. Well, it works on my MacBook Pro and it worked on my other. The problem with my MacBook Pro is I can't stream off it because it sounds like it's taking off. And my Microscope has worked on it before. And my Microscope works on this cam link. Like, I really think it's something to do with the integrated graphics on the Mac Mini. Yeah, sure. So it might be a bandwidth issue on the ports then. DVD or Blu-ray player that could test. I do not... Ooh. I have to probably plug into a Blu-ray, but actually you know what I'm going to do? Just for a second, I'm going to unplug one of these HDMI, so one of my monitors. Just bear with me a second. Okay. Yeah, that's still pretty messy. Same problem. So I'm only running one monitor right now, so one HDMI display. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to actually swap out the cable for... So I'm going to lose both my screens just for the moment. No one go anywhere. It's still jittery. It's a little bit better. Does the camera work? Yes, the camera works. It's not the camera. The camera works in the monitor. The camera worked on my old machine. None of the hardware's changed. It's purely a Mac Mini thing. It's definitely a bit better now, but it's still, yeah, not good enough. Let me just get rid of the switcher. Okay, the switch is out. Just back to a direct connection. Yeah, No. Still choppy as all. So this is running at 60, where the, let me see if I can, menu. I don't know if I'll be able to get the menu up on the screen through the stream. Oh, now I've, interesting. I was curious to know whether I can get the camera to work in 30 frames a second mode. Because the only difference is this Microscope is running at 60 and my DSLR is running at 30. Yeah, I've tried each port and I've tried each Thunderbolt port as well. I've got a lot of stuff plugged into this machine, unfortunately. Let me just bear with me a second. I'm plugging my Microscope into my monitor just for a second so I can get to the menu. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the menu and see if I can change it to, it's a line set, exposure, white balance, frequency. What's frequency? Yeah. Interesting. Formats. Oh, that means format the TF card. Yeah, that's not what I want. Cancel. Image ratio. 4:3, 16:9. Like it doesn't seem to allow me to yeah, I can't seem to adjust the frames per second. That's annoying. 12 USB ports between the back of my PC. Ports, case and powered. Okay, so it doesn't like 60 Hertz, it looks like. Is there a loaded firmware available for the camera? Possibly. I'd have to, I don't even know. Oh, Rob, you got the manual for the camera. I think you sent it to me, didn't you? And it might just require me using a different capture device. Which would be really annoying. Okay. Just lost my webcam for a bit. Sorry about that. Cancel. Wow, this is not looking good. I'm going to plug this back into the monitor. Go menu. Let's switch this while I'm doing it, so everyone can see my stomach. Menu frequency, okay, put it back to 50. Okay, down, 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 awesome version. The version I've got is, I should write it down. Oh, look at that. I can use my JLC PCB notes. Oops. And note things. Wow, I can't even see. Anyway, I'm going to, so that's YW 307-0430_1. Okay. Yeah, I go out of the menu. Oh. Well, I can't even turn the camera off now. Camera's frozen. Wow. Interesting. Move my displays to plug them back in reversed. That was a bit annoying. Okay. Put everything back to what it was. What a bummer. It is a bummer. Is there anything in my display settings maybe? Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, I think I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I wonder if anyone else on the internet has. So I can link OBS choppy capture. Wow, I can't spell. Can link lag with OBS and HT60S when streaming. Elgato Gaming. USB is being overloaded, bandwidth the two capture cards, and you try different ports. See, Greg. Thank you, mate. Merry Christmas to you too and your family. Thanks for joining. See, I don't even have control to manually change stuff. Like, UV2. Auto recording 709. Well, it's not a capture card. It's the USB thing. I mean, it's 6 months old, 7 months old. Yeah. About 7 months old. Well, when did I start streaming? I don't know. Whenever I started using my DSLR for my streams. Yeah, it's not working. $59.94. Let me do $59.94. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Auto. Yeah. Have run into Mac approved equipment that didn't odd things with newer computers. Yeah, it might be an incompatibility. I mean, there's no drivers specifically for the Cam Link. Like, it's just a USB device. Like, it all happens on hardware. So, vote no joy. Any manual is wrong with the scope, and that manual only refers to an old analog camera. Yeah. Yay for the instructions. So there is a difference, though. I just remembered. I'm running a newer version of the operating system on this Mac than what I was running before, which is another reason I didn't want to do another Hackintosh, because I was stuck behind an older OS version. So let me go Cam Link 10.14. It's a capture card, yes, but not. Yeah, it's specifically designed to make any HDMI device work like a webcam. Does that make sense? So yes, it's a less versatile capture device, maybe. Yeah, there's no Cam Link issues on Mac OS 10.14. I mean, my DSLR was working fine, so I still think it's a bandwidth issue or a incompatibility with the camera on my microscope. Whoop. Yeah, and with it plugged in, it just keeps making my webcam disappear. Way to go, Connor. That's multitasking for you. Okay, well, don't know what else I can do other than go and buy some other capture hardware, which I really don't want to do. Or I need to get a different computer. I don't know what else I can possibly do right now that's going to make any difference. It doesn't matter where I plug it in. If I tried without the webcam connected. I've not, but that's my audio and everything else right now. So I can, but I'm likely to lose everything. Don't even know if the different capture hardware will fix the issue. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Let me just see if I can get the webcam at least coming up again. Sorry, not the webcam, the cam link. Okay, so we've got some picture. Oops. Right, bad as it is. I'll unplug the webcam. Let me at least turn it off. So my audio is going to go for a few minutes, okay? Or the audio might stay. I've just got the vision off, but the webcam is technically still on. Okay, let me just unplug it. No one go anywhere. Oh. Okay. We have vision back. Yeah, no. So without the webcam plugged in, it performed much better. Much better. But now that the webcam is back on, this has gone screwed again. So, got an analog watch to use for testing. The second hand makes good test of how the video jumps. I don't have an analog watch. Have not owned one in a very long time. Anything using the GPU pointlessly. Everything's used. Wow. So, yeah, the webcam keeps turning off and shutting down with the cam link plugged in. I mean, everything's using the GPU. So it's an integrated GPU. I'm running two screens. Even with one screen, it's the same problem. So two screens and the cam link coming in technically, and the webcam, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's definitely, I think it's definitely the integrated GPU. It's too taxing for it. It's just not going to work. which means MacMini is not an option. So my next option is an iMac. An iMac is my next step up, and even a cheap iMac is horrifically expensive. Like, horrific. Where's the priority devices on the bus? Shared interrupt. This is a Mac, Rob. Nah, I don't know. I mean, there might be at the command level. I really don't know. You can probably see what is hang on. Where do I get to? God, don't even know where to look anymore. Okay, so let's get my desktop. Whoa, hang on. It's capturing the wrong desktop. 1 second, sorry. There we go. No, I don't want to do that, Andrew. I don't want to run a Hackintosh. That's what I was just doing before. That's the whole point of buying a Mac Mini, was to not use a Hackintosh. Yeah, it's the same principle. I know. I'm just I'm having a look now to see what's on the USB, because it's the same principle, but because it's using the Thunderbolt bridge. So there's a USB-C hub. There's a USB 3 hub. So the USB digital AV multi-port adapter, yep, and my webcam are both plugged into, that's interesting. Right, and my webcam are both plugged into it's a USB 2 hub, which is fine. My keyboard and my mouse are plugged into this bus. So I need my webcam to be in these ones. I'm just going to plug it in and see which one it pops into. Well, it's not showing up in either. Why is it not showing up in either? Up to 5 GB, up to 5. I thought the 3.1 was 10. Interesting. So why is it not picking up my Elgato there? Oh, my cam link. Maybe I need to power it up. See if I can get it to come up. Okay, where does it appear? Interesting. Why is it not appearing? Oops, not about Safari. It's Mac. Swap out the webcam. I do have another webcam I can swap out. Just want to see where the camera link is coming. Oh, there it is. Right, so it's on the same as the... For some reason it's on the same as that one. So what's if I move... Is everyone still there? Yeah? Okay. Need to test without the stream up to see if we can handle it. Well, no, it was working before. Without the stream running, but I didn't have my mouse. Well, where's my webcam gone? Oh, come on. Now it's not liking my picture. You guys can hear me okay? Just no, the picture's not updating? Right, audio's back, no picture. Just hold on 1 second. I've got no webcam. And if I go back to desktop, so where does it think they are now? So I need to, right. See, they're all on the USB 3.1 bus on this one. I need to somehow get them, some of them onto this bus. It's what I need, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. If I go keyboard, sorry, I lose audio again. Webcam, we have audio. One webcam off the Thunderbolt to USB hub. I'm trying to swap them around to work out which one's plugged into which, but it's not working. Doesn't matter where I plug them in. See, my mouse is here now, but my webcam, they're still on the same USB-C hub that's under this one. I want to see if I can move stuff into here, but I don't seem to be able to. Right, why is it not working? Okay, I've got webcam. Now, as soon as the webcam comes on, that screws up again. And as soon as I turn off the webcam, oh, that becomes better. Or in this case, not great. If I actually turn off, if I disable the webcam, so I'll put the webcam somewhere else. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's got to be bandwidth. Doesn't matter what combination I plug them in, into which ports. As soon as the webcam and the microscope are on, it's screwed. Let me try a different webcam. Yep, audio. Okay. No, so that's screwed again. As soon as I plug the webcam in, yeah, the Mac Mini just doesn't have enough grunt, video-wise. HDMI to IP box and stream that via the network is another option. Yeah, except it's more hardware I've got to buy. So, I mean, I need a new machine here anyway, right? So if I need to buy a new machine here and then buy a whole bunch of other hardware to get my stuff working with this machine, I might as well just get a machine that can do what I need. The other problem is it's Christmas time, so it's not like I can go to the computer store. Yeah. It's not like I can go, so I had to unplug the cam link. That's a terrible angle. Let me swap that back. Audio? Yep. Okay, got audio back. I don't think the lowering the webcam resolution is going to help. I don't even know if I can. I mean, I can, but if I go 720p. The problem is with the cam link plugged in, it just keeps turning off the webcam now and then. When it turns off the webcam, I lose audio. So, oh wow. This is an absolute pain. Let's on the stream camera via USB stream into another PC. Stream that via VSL over the network on Mac Mini. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what that'll give me in terms of a test, because I need my microscope here, and I need my webcam here, and I need my machine here, right? So setting up anything over there or somewhere else, or even on this desk, I don't have the room for to do. Yeah, that won't. Ultimately, I need a machine here that's going to do what I need, and this is not doing what I need. So I think the only way to fix that is to. Why is that not doing full sound? Wow, look at that. Interesting. I've lost all my settings for my webcam. Oh, that's right. I don't know why. Whoops, shouldn't have done that, because I went to 720. Now it's going to be... It's interesting how it does that. Let me put it back to 19, 20, 1080. It's going to now be too big. Start building Microscope cameras. What makes you think I want to do any of those things? I just want a computer that works. I want a setup that works. Not everything coming into USB. Test could be via laptop. Right, but where am I going to put that HDMI to IP converter? That's the question. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely don't want to put it into a second computer. No, it's just too much effort, too much work. Too much meaning I need a solution that works exactly how I need it to work. Like I'm once again not into it. Oh, this is not an idea. No, you can. I'm happy for people to throw ideas, but like if my stream setup has to involve using other computers to get it working, then I failed. Like I don't want to do that. You know, yeah, it's definitely not something I want to do. So So I just wrecked my desktop again. I've got to put everything back again how it was. But I think the Mac Mini for me is going to have to go, I think. I think my option is going to be a... What's happening there? Yep, good. I think the option for me is going to be getting hardware that works. Getting a computer that does what I want. And it's probably going to be... Interesting. What's happening there? Once again, not picking up my screen. There we go. Return your Mac and get it. Not getting a PC, mate. Yeah, still here. Not getting a PC. That's not going to happen. So this is the problem with an iMac. iMacs are not cheap, and I don't need the screen. That's the problem. I don't want a screen. Wow. There's a reason Apple stock is at an all-time low. What? What does that mean? Now, I'd love a Mac Pro. Apple stock's not an all-time low. Don't be negative. Yeah, the problem with, like, I don't want to buy myself... There's a new iMacs coming out at the start of next year. Or sometime next year. So I'd really not want to do that. But watch the iMac jump up in price. So I've got 256 gig. Just really low, but also considerably higher than most other companies out there. Sure, okay. So 256 gig, 8 gig of RAM, do the same thing again. Even if I go for slower, well, i5, I'm looking at 2219, so an extra $500. And the problem with that is, well, I'm not going to be able to buy one anytime soon. Now you all know my postcode. Yeah, see, not going to be available till January. First or second week of January. Yeah, we discussed this in length already, J-Man. You're going to have to go back and watch the replay of the stream. I like macOS. I'm not a Windows fan. I'd like to go 16 gig of RAM, but I'm trying to get my cheapest entry point as I need. Like, I don't need 16. Like, this iMac's running at 8. That's fine. Again, I stream on it and I use Eagle on it. I don't do any Fusion work on it. I don't do any artwork on it. Like, I do all that on my main MacBook. So I just need something that's capable of running my streams that can run macOS and can run my software if I need it. Oh boy. Yeah, I could buy a refurb, but not in a hurry. That's the problem. When do I get to the refurbs again? Yeah, so it's got to be a desktop class machine. Mac, there's nothing. They've got no refurb iMacs at the moment, or iMac Pros, or Mac Pros. So that cuts all that out. Yeah, so a refurb is not going to happen. And again, I need it, like, I want to stream next week. No, I'm not going to buy a second-hand Mac. I'd prefer not to buy a second-hand Mac. Yeah. New one is 16. New one what? Oh, my first one had 8. Probably found I needed more to run VMs. Yeah, I wouldn't buy anything under 32 now for a main work PC. But again, this has got a very specific use case here, which means I can get away with less. That's the only reason I considered getting the Mac Mini, and everything other than the GPU looks like it's fine. I can put an eGPU on it, but then I'm up for another $1,100. If I'm going to spend another $1,100 on this to run an eGPU, I might as well. There's a Black Magic one. Whoa. Yeah, 1,100 for the non-pro. 3 out of 5 stars, and they're not available till. Oh, hang on. No, I'm not Hackintoshing. J-Man, we went through all that already. I had a Hackintosh. Yeah, this is, I don't know. Yeah, for a test stream, it's pretty long. Radeon Pro 580. That's a lot of money for an eGPU. Out of curiosity, I bet you there's no stock until January. Oh, available today. From Chadstone. You can always buy it, and if it doesn't work, return it. Wow. Southland's my closest, but they don't have. Haha, Chris. Okay, I've got some stuff to think about, but I think it's it. I'm calling it a quits. We are done. We are absolutely done. Everyone is correct. This is the longest test stream ever. And the results are poo. Poo. Poo poo for the test stream. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to go. I'm going to scratch my head and work something else out, because this just isn't working. Mac and cheese. I prefer just Mac and GPU would be nice. Anyway, I'm going to still try to stream on Wednesday. I don't know what I'm going to stream on. Hey Greg, is your USB kept at 2 or 3? What does that mean? Is my USB... It's USB 3. The cam link is USB 3. Won't work on the USB 2 port. Anyway, I'm going to try to stream on Wednesday. I really wanted to stream some Tiny Pico stuff, but without my microscope, that's not going to happen. Unless I use my microscope, but you guys see through a different view. I don't know, I'll work something out. And now Amos has turned up. Hello! But all of you have a Merry Christmas. It's USB 3. 3.0. The cam link requires at least 3.0. Have a Merry Christmas to all of you that celebrate Christmas. To all of you that don't celebrate Christmas. Have a great few days. Enjoy all the shops being closed. Use the webcam. Yeah, the webcam doesn't allow me to use my microscope for you guys to see what I'm working on, which is kind of sucks, that's all. Oh, just got back from Christmas shopping. Yeah, crazy. I went to a shopping centre to get the Mac Mini, and it was terrible. It was packed. Yeah, I don't want to do that again. Anyway, I'm going. I'm definitely going. No more waffling. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. I will hopefully see you on Wednesday. I'll probably do a stream anyway, but I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't get my microscope working. Otherwise, yeah. Everyone be safe. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too much. Okay, I got to find my dashboard. Here it is. Bye, everyone.